have wine? I thought we were going wine tasting. This is a horse paddock.
Yes, I know, but I said we're going wine tasting 1864 style.
I'm not riding a horse to a wine tasting. You'll fall off. You're riding under the influence. And where am I going to put the wine if I buy some?
No, what we're doing is we're going 1864 wine tasting in style.
Ooh.
Hi, Scott.
Pup, Simon.
So this is how they got around in the 1800s.
This is the 1800s version of the SUV. Plenty of horsepower out the front here with cruise control, air conditioning of course, and some central heating there for you as well.
What if they didn't have a horse? How did they get around back in the 1860s?
Oh, I suppose you'd have to ride Shank's pony.
What's Shank's pony?
Shank's pony. Shanks, your legs.
Oh, okay.
No, let's not do that. Climb aboard. Yeah, Bill. Couldn't afford the top of the line model with the cup holders and the power steering, but we'll have to make do.
I think we'll
So, Scott, how long would it have taken in a horse and buggy back in the 1860s to come up from Sydney?
4 or 5 days, I think.
Oh, really?
Depending on the weather and the horses, of course.
Okay.
You'd want a glass of wine after that, wouldn't you?
It certainly
You've got
would.
more than one, wouldn't you?
That's right.
So, Simon, where are we going? Benin? Tyrrells?
No, we're going to a winery that well depicts the cellar doors back in the 1860s, 1890s, 1920s, 1980s, and even today.
Oh, where?
We're going to Hanging Tree Wines.
Okay, let's go.
Hi, Ming, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Hello, vodka. Ming, this is Pup.
Hi, lovely to meet you. Hello, puppy dog.
Fantastic place, isn't it?
This is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, amazing amount of history here, isn't there?
Yeah, it is. There's over 160 years of history here.
Fantastic.
Do you get asked lots of questions?
Yeah, we do.
Imagine.
Shall we go and have a tasting?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Now, Ming, my first question is why is it called Hanging Tree?
Well, it's named after the tree out in the front, in the car park.
that's
Oh,
what
okay.
I'm looking
The one
at.
we looked
Tallest
at.
tree there.
Yeah, yep.
So legend has it, it used to hang a bushranger that was part of Captain Thunderbolt's gang.
Ah,
I
okay.
didn't realise bushrangers were hanging around here.
Oh, Simon.
Well, in the 1860s, that was the bushrangers' heyday.
That's true, and in fact, it's said that Captain Thunderbolt gave himself that name after he robbed the Campbell's toll bar at Rutherford near Maitland in 1863. And he actually used the cash from the robbery to go around to a few cellar doors and buy some wine.
Sure, Simon.
He did,
Yeah.
because he was known as a gentleman bushranger.
I see.
And in fact, he had morning tea with my great-great-grandfather back in the day as he was travelling just outside of Singleton.
Was that voluntary or?
No, he had a gun. Yes.
Well, talking about wine tasting, I've set up an 1864 tasting for you here.
So this is the way wine tasting was done in the 1860s.
Yeah, in the large chateaus in France, they actually had all their wine stored in big barrels in cellars, and many of those cellars were underground.
Okay.
They'd have special tables and chairs and some special glasses for tasting as well. And that's where the term cellar door comes from.
So what about the wineries in Australia?
In the small wineries, 1 plank on a barrel.
And the large ones?
2 planks on 2 barrels.
Let's try some wine.
Oh,
Great idea.
The Shepherd's Riesling.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic. Which is what we now call Semillon in the Hunter.
Have you been gathering again, Simon?
Yeah, no, I've been trying to gather.
Uh-huh.
And back in the 1800s, it took so long to travel between wineries, people used to visit maybe 1 or 2 in a day. So wineries would have up to 20 wines to taste.
Really, they don't need to go to one place, really.
Exactly.
And do you think, Ming, that the wine tastings are as popular today as they were back then, vice versa?
Well, it seems it started getting popular in the 1860s. By the 1890s, we had about 1,000 wine presses just in the Hunter alone.
1,000. And yet back in the 60s, I think there were only 7.
Yeah.
Yep. But as Bob said, that's a story for another time.
True. Oh, it's lovely.
It's got a nice nose, doesn't it?
That's nice.
Classic Hunter wine, that one.
So now we'll try the 1860 hock.
Okay.
Back in the 1860s, customers would come up with their wine casks and their large wine bottles and ask the wineries to fill it up for them.
Oh, okay.
Ah, now that reminds me, Bob asked me to fill up our time keg with some aged premium unleaded.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
So it would have taken 5 days to get back to Sydney. They'd come up and buy it, be shaken, stirred, surely be hot by the time it got back there.
Yeah, and that's why fortified wines were so popular in the day. And in fact, what's interesting is that back in the 1960s, fortified wines made up nearly 70% of all wine production in the country.
Really?
You go to the late 1980s, it had gone down to about 10%.
Wow.
All because of improved refrigeration and transport.
Okay. So is this a Chardonnay?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I love Chardonnay.
Yeah, it's a hock. It was what it was called hock in those days, but it could have been anything. Hock was a dry white style with a German name, and it could have been made from any grape grown in the vineyard or all the grapes grown in the vineyard. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now we've got the 1845 Burgundy.
Wow.
Shiraz, of course, Hunter River Burgundy. We've always done it so well, haven't we, Ming?
Yeah, it's quite unique, this one.
That's actually a nice drop.
It is.
And the claret would have been a Bordeaux blend. And as Edward Abbott stated in his book, our clarets were comparable to the finest clarets of Bordeaux.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we should check.
We probably should check. Okay. Oh.
Gorgeous. And it's interesting with the premium wineries and cellar doors in France or Italy, you would have had to have planned at least a year ahead before you visit. And in the day when John MacArthur, his son William, George Wyndham, James Busby and even Edward Abbott, they would have written to the wineries at least 12 months before they planned to visit.
That's dedication, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's been like that ever since grapes were growing,
So wine tasting's been around for a long time.
all the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
It seems like we should finish on a port and a Madeira.
Sounds good to me.
That's wonderful.
So I've got the
How cool is that?
1815 port.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I've got the 1825 Madeira for you, Paul.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Wow.
cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your hospitality. Oh. Okay. Yes. Can we have a case of?
Well, while we're here,
Well, we've got the buggy. We can get some wines from this century. What do you think? Fill it
That's
up.
a very good idea.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you
your-
so much, Ming.
very
It's been
welcome.
lovely.
Yeah, thanks for your hospitality.
My pleasure.
Oh,
It's
it's
what
lovely.
we do well here in the Hunter, as well as our wine, hospitality.
We do indeed. Absolutely. Can you just hold that for
hold
me
that?
first? Yeah, thank you. I've just called for the transport. It'll be here in a minute.